Pat?
Oh, the red food?
Wasn't in this last
No,
month.
it's for
And
sale.
she's no longer with us, correct?
No, she's
gone for the
She's not
summer.
gonna make it tonight.
she's not sure.
Okay.
She's still
I knew she had been talking about,
It's not official. She's not official.
okay,
And she may hang in for it.
okay. We ready? As ready as we're gonna be. All right.
Hi, Greg.
Yes.
About 2 years on the fire.
Ready? Hear ye, hear ye. Welcome to another installment of the Sandy Arts Commission. Let's see here. First and foremost, if you could all join me in honoring our nation's flag with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, it looks like everyone that's aboard is here. Moving on, are there any changes to the agenda for this evening?
Yes, just one. We're going to do an update regarding the chalk art contest.
Okay. Anything else? Is that it?
Do we do that now?
Yeah, we can do it now.
Good.
Okay, I think Pam is going to talk about the event, and I'm gonna talk about the budget. And Sandra, if you could talk about the presentation on Sunday.
We had signed up 10 children and 2 adults. We had 6 children and 2 adults show. So it was a small event, but it was fun. We enjoyed it. It was a good start. We learned an awful lot in the preparation. We learned what we might do better next year. So we basically set a framework for repeating this next year and doing it in a more timely manner since we got a late start this year. You'll see some photos up there of our glorious winners, and anything else, Marcia? Sandy?
You wanna talk about the awards?
No. Well, they allowed us 5 minutes in the park on the stage in between the bands to announce the winners. You race up there and say the name and each person got their certificate. Then they'll get a check from the city for the amount that they won.
So we ended up with, in our budget, we budgeted for a $150 grand prize, which went to the project you can see on the screen there. It's upside down from this perspective, but it's a salamander going through the rings of a beer can holder or pop can holder, only rained down the drain. She won the grand prize. And then the fish that you saw in the fish. Fish are people too. That was the People's Choice Award, and she got $50. And then there was no oil down the drain, and she was our middle school winner. And the grade school winner, he drew all the things good for the drains, which is just water, and then bad, and he had oil cans and various things, and he was very exuberant in his drawing. So the first section there is where the tape was, meaning, go to here, but then he was really having a good time and ended up having to stop at the cobblestones. So that was a good event, and we had quite a few people come for the chalk walk on Sunday then to view all the art. On the budget.
So real quick though, the young man there, the artist
He
broke
won
the
grade.
rules. he broke the rules and went beyond
Yeah.
the boundaries and drew outside the lines.
Mhm.
Actually,
That's
It
good.
was my fault.
it was Lou's fault.
I didn't know that there was a restriction on the size, and the kid was having so much fun. He says, "Can I go a little further?" I says, "I'll go all the way to the cobblestone."
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I
I love it. That's great.
He's a generous man. But pretty much, people did, the kids, would turn in a paper this size. And so you go, how are you going to expand on that? You're going to make it bigger and so on. So they got a chalk art lesson when they first checked in to show the difference between working on paper and working on that rough surface, and they did some really nice work. We were under our budget, and Tyler will be able to tell us during the next meeting how much, but we did come up with 2 8-foot banners that are reusable. It says art event today, and they go on each end of town, so regardless of what the event is, it calls attention to the event. And then we had a poster, laminated poster done, so that people coming through town will see an arrow that says art event here, which will help. And we can build on our signs as we go along. One of the things that we really need for our next event is the ability to post on social media the way that the rec department does and the way the library does. So we need to work toward that permission to do that, because if you're doing an event, it's hard not to be able to do that. So the other thing is we did have one winner in the guest artists, who Pam did a piece, I did some work, and one of our other guest artists got novice award and a pat on the back, Carl Exner.
Very nice.
So we're looking forward to doing this next year, and whatever we spent this year in goodwill was worth it, but also as learning what tools we actually need to put on an event. It was like a seminar in what we need to do differently as far as the directions we were given, and the city council gave us the permission to actually speak to city employees, which was so helpful. Within minutes, I had a Peach Jar account.
Good.
So that will help us next year contact the schools. So I'd like to get started on doing our next event next year way earlier than we did this year. So would it be proper for us to make a motion of some kind to go forward with this next year, to see if that's something we want to do?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
I make a motion that we have a chalk art contest next year, and that we begin preparing as soon as possible.
I'll second that. Would everyone
Voting?
like to vote on that?
Carl,
Yes.
you want to discuss that? Is that what that?
Well, it's a scratch.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
I sure could talk. I talk too much.
But we'll need to take a quick vote on
Mhm.
it. As if all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
One important thing is we'll change the weekend. We discovered that was a big deterrent, because it was 4th of July weekend, and so many people said, I really want to do it, but we're gone. So we won't associate it probably with the Mountain Festival next year. It'll be its own separate.
Depending on when the mountain festival is.
Excellent.
That's all from us.
Okay. So then, does anyone mind if we move on to public comment? It appears we have a few members of the public here this evening. Yes? Let's start with Mr. Exner, by all means.
Well, thanks for letting me talk. It was, I'd like to compliment the staff that were working on the chalk art. It was beginning, it was kind of a hard time because there was so little time to get it all prepared, and the schools were already going down for the summer, and we had the competition with the 4th of July, and it seemed like all kinds of things against it. But I was really impressed by all 4 of the folks that really got involved. And then Lou made all those pictures afterwards. And they're really well done. I want to really compliment you guys on doing something that was just really wonderful. Yeah, thank you for that. So, really, that's it. Just thank you for pushing forward on an idea that was, I think, really is good, and will continue to be good next year. I hope we get somebody who likes to do these illusion art next year. Work on some of those things. That's probably the thing that was such intriguing for me. So, anyway, thanks again. I appreciate it very much.
No, thank
I
you.
don't know if it matters, but I don't think that mic is on.
Do not,
I don't know.
there's a plug-in or something? Or?
It should be. If it's not,
Does it amplify ever?
Oh,
thought it just
I don't
kinda-
think it
it
amplifies.
mostly just picks up for the
records
recording.
the-
Yeah, I thought it was
Okay.
just for the
All right.
recording
Yeah.
as well. Would anyone else like to step up and have anything to add today to the Arts Commission?
So I'll do a quick spiel before Tanya starts. The commission previously had asked that at some point in time department heads come and kind of give a brief overview of what they do in the city and how we could potentially maybe interwork the Arts Commission with various departments. So Tanya Richardson's our community services director, putting on a nice event in the park this evening. Good timing for her to swing by here and, and meet the commission. So I'll let her go ahead and give a little bit of background.
Great. Thank you for having me tonight. So just to tell you a little bit about community services. So I oversee senior services, recreation, parks to a degree, and also the community campus, aquatics areas, and so forth. So with senior services, just a brief thing about things that we do. Transportation, so overseeing transportation for our seniors, daily pickups, bringing them to the center, and drop-offs. We do medical appointments. We do trips, recreational trips for them. We also do a shopping shuttle once a week. Nutrition programs, we provide Meals on Wheels daily, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then we provide frozens on Thursdays on the weekends. We're up to about 95 people a day at this moment for Meals on Wheels. We provide congregate meals in-house, anywhere between 15 to, on our birthday party day, we might have anywhere to 75 people. We also provide client services. The intention of client services is to give caregivers, family members, and so forth the resources they need to help their beloved ones to maintain independence in their home. So that could include us giving them resources about housing opportunities. It could include us helping them with energy assistance. That could be working with different organizations like the Ant Farm as far as building a ramp for them or to help pick up trash in their area of their home. As well as our Change of Pace program, which is our Alzheimer's respite program that we provide once a week. We have an Alzheimer's support group that is also once a week, or once a month, I'm sorry, to help support the individuals and also to give the caregivers a break. In addition, I oversee a senior services manager, Melissa Thompson, and then I have part-timers who help with nutrition, with the transportation, and also with Meals on Wheels and so forth. In addition, we have recreation departments. Sarah Richardson is my recreation manager. We sometimes get our names confused because my last name's Richardson too. And so Sarah oversees our sports programs. We offer Mountain Storm youth basketball, kinder dance classes, theater classes, music classes, arts classes, as well as adult softball programs. And then we do a lot of programs within the park as well. And then we do camps. We offer camps. We work a lot with local community organizations like Camp Namanu. We do a camp with them. And then we work with contractors in local areas to help to support our programs and be able to offer programs for the community. Special events, as Tyler mentioned, we oversee Summer Sounds along with library services. We're doing that together this year. Carol Cohen is our events coordinator, so she oversees our corn cross, which we do with our Dogs Day Out. That is in the fall that we work at Leopold Farms and put on that event. Noah's Quest is a 5K, 10K run we do. Longest Our Day Parkway, we'll do a volunteer picnic coming up. We do the movies in the park, and this year, with the collaboration with Summer Sounds, we decided to do a theater series on Sundays. Carol worked with that to help get some volunteer theater groups to help put on plays for free in the community. That is one avenue that I wanted to discuss, that's a possibility that we could work with Arts Commission on, as well as Summer Sounds. We do a lot of fundraising events to help offset some of the costs. So we do something like Breakfast with Santa, if you've heard about that. That's to support our Meals on Wheels program. Carol just put on a great concert, the Aaron Nigel Smith concert, which helped produce and bring in money for seniors to be able to support them for scholarships if they wanted to do recreational programs and trips. We also do pies. If you bought any of our pies, we make pies over the Mountain Festival, and that also helps with Meals on Wheels for fundraising. Yes.
My husband was very disappointed.
I'm so sorry.
Every year he buys two
Yeah.
strawberry rhubarb.
Yeah.
We didn't get any paper or order forms or anything.
Really, it is getting harder. In the past, before I got here, so I've been here about 2.5 years, we set up a booth during Mountain Festival. But it became very long days for the seniors and for
I
volunteers.
thought something might have happened.
So about 2 years ago, we went to pre-orders. And we put flyers up at the city hall, at the library, at the community center. We put advertisements out on Facebook, and we haven't seen a huge drop, but there's definitely some drop in the amount of attendance. So we sold about 78 pies this year. I know we've gone up to, I think my first year we had about 120. So it's definitely dropped off, but we're looking at like, okay, do we still do pies, or what do we need to do going forward?
Okay.
In addition, we oversee parks programming. So what that means is community garden, oversee the community garden as well as the dog park. My staff oversees the Parks Advisory Board, so we work with them as far as working with Public Works as well as far as maintenance of the parks, and that includes the trails as well as far as Tickle Creek. And then most recently, my department was overseeing the Aquatic Center and hiring of the staff and getting the Aquatic Center up and moving and going. As of right now, I am helping with the master plan for the Sandy Community Campus, and I am helping with the RFP for the Parks master plan as well, so I see those kind of working jointly. Some of the things that we do that I feel is art related, but clarification on Arts Council Commission is, is that theater arts, is that musical arts, is that all art? So some of the things that we're looking at is, as I already mentioned, Summer Sounds, how we can collaborate with the theater series, or helping us with the music groups and so forth. It is a significant amount of budget to put on this event, but it does bring in a lot of people and they enjoy it. People come from Gresham and all over the place for the Summer Sounds. Another thing is that we do, right now we have very limited art classes, and that's something that I would like to see expand. Most of the time it's either low enrollment, or the artists that we get charge a considerable amount, which as they should, but we cannot get enough people to register. It may be the supply fee, it may be just the cost. I would love to see some senior art classes. We do have one woman who does an oil painting class 1 day a week, but it's not significant. Maybe we get 4 people a week doing that class. In addition, it would be nice to do some paint nights or something like that, which I know the library does a lot. But I would love to see our art room utilized. We have a full art room upstairs in the community center, so it's available, but just how we can collaborate to try to get more art in our community. And then of course, the parks. I'm sure you're all working on that, trying to get some street art or art in the park, and how we can work together on that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. I know that Becky had talked about Missoula music, which we do offer, and Sarah has a good partnership that's working with them. So we're really excited about that because that program has grown and it's going to go, which is fabulous. Anything else?
Just that it seems very appropriate that our departments collaborate and work together.
Yes.
And so I'd like to see more than just this introductory meeting to really brainstorm and talk with some
Yeah,
of
we've
the-
been working a lot with the library. What we have found is the library has the staffing and we have space. And so how can we work together to put on some things? We've collaborated on the teen flashlight egg hunt. We're now doing the summer sounds together. We meet quarterly and talk about our programming. So we're definitely working together that part.
You
for
know
sure.
about the art classes for kids that meet at the library?
Yes, yes. And I don't know if you realize that we also publish all the library classes in our recreation guide as well. Yes.
I know that the recreation guide is now mainly online, though. It doesn't go out by mail like it used to.
No.
And a lot of us older people, you know, we used to get, say, pies, information in the mail or whatever. So a lot of people, I think, get kind of glossed over because they just aren't into the new
Okay.
mode of communication.
Right.
But I think as a commission, I speak for at least 3 or 4 of us, the Sandy campus is something that we would love to be in on at the forefront, because when you plan space for art, it's less expensive and more effective in the beginning than as an afterthought.
Okay, great.
So that, you know, if you want a representative to come to any of those meetings, that would be great. We would, I'm sure we would be able to find someone who would.
And I might add the parks master plan. That might be another piece. We're gonna probably kick that off with some stakeholder meetings, so it'd be great to have a stakeholder meeting with the Arts Commission.
If we would just be on your mailing list, that would be good.
Okay,
Somehow, I don't know how that happens.
okay, great. I will write that down. Anything else? Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Tanya.
Do we have any more comment from members of the public? Just come see how it all works tonight. No problem. Can we move on?
Was Lee here to talk?
Did you want to present anything this evening?
Well, David's here, and, well, if you don't mind, David, if you want to talk for a few minutes, maybe just talk for a few minutes, introduce myself, and then kind of let everybody know where we're at here, okay? And for those who don't know me, I'm Lee Lordson, and that's my son Craig. Okay? He and I were the ones that put together the Centennial Mural, which is right outside the door out here. So, and last time we talked with David, we talked to him about what the condition of the mural and what really needs to be done in terms of maintenance of the mural to get it back up to where it was at one time. So, and so with that, he asked us to put together a proposal for what the maintenance ought to be, and what very specific about what it is, and how it can be fixed, you know, and those kinds of things. So, and especially with sealant stuff that goes on the mural, it keeps it healthy, if you want to call it that. It keeps it away from a lot of other problems. So it's all, we got it all laid out in the proposal. And David, do you want to say from there, or do you want me to?
Sure, I can.
You want to go ahead and.
So, do I need to state name and address, or just?
Your staff.
So, the Lawrences got us their proposal. It was for a little bit under $2,000, and we're going to pay for that out of the urban renewal fund. We can actually, we talked to our city attorney about that, and he said that was an acceptable use of urban renewal funds. So, we're gonna take care of it. Or rather, they're gonna take care of it, and we're gonna pay it.
That's fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I sent you an email today that says you are good to go.
I didn't see it today, but that's one of the reasons we were here is that to kind of finish it off on where we're at, so, yep, Becky.
So I did notice a little scratched graffiti in one corner.
Yes.
And then you're gonna repair that
Yes.
and put a sealer on both panels. And was there any other scope other than that?
Becky, what I would suggest, I have copies of the proposal, and if you wanna, any one of you wanna see, if that, within protocol, I assume, anyone wanna see
Yeah.
that, you're certainly welcome to it. I've
We'd
got
love
some
to have a
extra
copy
copies.
and we can send it around to the rest of the,
Okay, is that okay?
I can send that out to the commission. I have a copy of that as well, so.
excellent.
Yeah.
I think it's educational and informative. Thanks so much, Lee.
Lee,
Yeah.
excuse me, is that 2,000 a year or one time? or-
No,
No, it's a
that's,
one-time.
that's one
It's a
time,
one-
and it's for the maintenance of it, okay? And the proposal goes through all the equipment we're gonna have, we use, and, you know, get all the way up in the tops and back. And
Okay.
the, probably almost one of the most important things is this mural, as you all know, since you live up here, in the summer, it's very hot. In the wintertime, you got snow and ice, okay? And we got panels on the middle, and if you go out there where the buses stop, you'll see there's gaps in the where the two panels don't mix together. And that's very fixable, and we've got a process with which we can fix that, right? And hopefully won't have to fix it again, and that's a good part of a lot of the cost of doing that, because we need to be way up high. And it's the scratch that, you know, you were talking about, you know, that's easy, that's actually an easy one to fix, so. And I can say I've done, my gosh, I don't know how many murals here in Oregon, but there's probably around 30, 35 just in Oregon itself, so done a lot of murals. And what's so important about the murals, and I'm gonna be up here preaching a little bit, but after the mural's done, you want to seal it and seal it well. And there's ways to do it. It's laid out in the proposal on what that is, so when we get done with it, it'll all have sealant over it. And it'll last longer than any when you guys live or something like that. But it's the state of the art nowadays in murals, and so okay. With that, I got one more question. We've got the mural over on the wagon train, and if I'm talking to the right audience here, but what's the status of that? Of going in and get that all, because the colors are all faded and everything else, to bring it in and fix it up too. So I'll just put that out there, because I hear that nothing's going to happen with it, so I don't know. So
It's
Yeah,
the next
go
item
ahead.
on the
We're
agenda.
gonna report on that now.
now.
Yeah, that's our next item.
Next up.
So, but if you want to include that one, that's fine too. So, but whatever, it's up to you guys, you know. So, and you already got a copy. You want some more copies to go around, or I've got some extras, or you can
Of the quote? Or,
of the.
yeah, I have it electronically, so I'll just email it out to the commission after this
Okay,
meeting.
all right, good. Is that okay with everybody?
Thank you, Lee.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
All right. Greg, you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think you covered it. And the proposal really breaks down what all we have to do to maintain the mural and get it back to its original form. So I think that pretty much explains it all. And my dad and I are really excited to fix it back up and get it back to where it was before, and in the future have it enjoyable for the whole community and keep it looking nice. Yep.
Okay.
Any questions? Thanks, Greg.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Yeah, sure, you bet. Thank you guys.
My computer timed out. I got nothing. You wanna run this show? You got a computer with the agenda there.
Oh, so where are we at?
I got nothing. it's doing nothing for me here.
Yeah.
So we're at
Hannah's there. So we're at the,
Yes, old business. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking to that mural restoration. We really appreciate your time, and it's part of what we're doing here. So it's good to get the person that did the mural here and help us learn about maintaining those things for future murals to come. So thank you again.
I would be happy to help you out maintaining, if you want to know how to do some of that stuff, I'll be happy to work with you.
We would really appreciate
on
that, I think,
other
yeah.
projects, you can also do some of the same sealing and those kinds of things, especially like something right behind you. So, if you're interested, let me know and walk you through the process.
Thank you so much. We will definitely take advantage of that resource. So any other comments from the public?
You just mentioned upcoming projects. I'm curious to know if you have anything on the agenda or anything coming up in the future.
Currently, we've just been dabbling in trying to upgrade, maintain the murals that we do have, the existing ones.
Okay.
But I would love to see more art come into this town, and hopefully through this council and commission we'll be able to gather some of that for the future of Sandy. So, and hopefully we can have you gentlemen involved in that. So
Yeah, that's exciting for us, and would love to see that too. I'm a resident of Sandy now. Learned a lot from my dad, kind of as an apprentice, and really looking forward to being involved and being a part of spiffing up Sandy and get some more murals around and showing some local artist talent that we have around here.
That's what it is in San.
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add before we move on to the fun stuff? I'm kidding. It's all boring. No, I'm kidding. Old business. We would like to speak on the Roger Cooke Mural Restoration, which was just brought up. Becky, would you like to field that, please?
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
So we had put together a volunteer group and a proposal for what we would require as far as materials and lift because of the height of it. And we had proposed or asked the city council for their input, and they said they definitely wanted to go ahead and get that work done, but they thought the urban renewal funds could be used for that. Since that time, the city attorney has said no, that wouldn't fit in with the urban renewal money. So we had a meeting, Carl, Tyler, David, Kelly O'Neill, and the city manager, Jordan Wheeler. And it was our feeling that the money then is going to come basically through our budget as the resource, partially because it's a very small amount. We have Ace Hardware donating a good portion, and so their feeling was that it has to be done this summer. There's so much loose paint and so on. And so I'm proposing that we take the roughly $1,000 out of our budget.
Oh, is that all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We looked into having it professionally done, because that was brought up last time at our meeting, and some people preferred that. There aren't a lot of companies out there just in the area looking to do mural restoration. but Becky did find one that quoted $125 an hour. I talked to,
Greg Lewis.
Thank you. Greg Lewis. I knew of him because he came to our guild meeting. And he does restoration of all kinds of art, from statues to ornate doorways to entryways to all kinds of stuff. And he does mural restoration as well. He put together a proposal for me, and he said it would take him 10 days, plus his commute from Portland. And he quoted $12,500 and said he would give us a 30% discount because we're a nonprofit, which comes to $8,100, which is more than we have in our budget.
Yeah.
So we mentioned how expensive it was in the city council meeting that we approved Betty to go to, and I went along as well. And they were very enthusiastic about volunteers,
I bet they were.
volunteers doing it, considering that we can't afford the other. So that's why Becky's saying it's only $1,000. That is with volunteers.
Right.
I'll add to, just from the funding side of this, you know, originally, like Becky had mentioned, we thought that we were going to be able to use urban renewal dollars, and unfortunately that specific mural is not on a public building, and we do not have a legal interest in it, so therefore it's not public art. So, you know, we have a funding source in place for the other 4 murals throughout town. They either are in a public building or we have a legal interest in them. But unfortunately, this one just doesn't meet those criteria, so we needed to find funding elsewhere. And with the donations from ACE and an updated quote on the scissor rental, I think, you know, like Becky said, about $1,000, maybe even a little bit shy of that, should hopefully take care of it. So if the commission is open to that, we will need to do a motion and a vote for authorizing the expenditure of those funds to do the mural
And
restoration.
who's going to do the painting?
Becky and I and Malia.
Micaiah Meyer.
Okay.
And this is Lori Putnam. She helped us with the chalk art contest. She was there for 2 days. She's offered to be there for us as well. So.
Okay. Are you volunteers? Are you expecting payment?
We are volunteers.
Volunteers.
Okay.
The only thing I put in the budget was 55 cents a mile for our young volunteer who goes off to college. And so I would like to give her mileage reimbursement, but there is no payment.
Okay.
So it's a volunteer thing. And Roger Cooke was a neighbor of mine. And so by hook or crook, the mural's going to get done one way or another. And I did send David examples of the various artists' work so that it isn't just us saying we can do it. You know, we do have some extensive experience in painting and matching the colors, and as Lee pointed out, the whole thing, the only thing that this does not cover is the mural shield or the coat at the end of the process. And we will be talking about the community center mural down at the senior center, and the one here on City Hall as well. And so one thought is to get grants to have all of the murals sealed at the same time. So once we have decent paint on the it's called Peaceful Vistas mural. Once that has decent paint on it, we can wait and do all the murals, get them all into
It's too late
the
for this
sealer.
year's grant cycle.
Yeah,
So
we
would have
could get
time.
grants and donations to do all the murals, but it is too late for this season.
Becky, that's a difficult question, and I really appreciate you guys wanting them, all your murals, and get them up where they ought to be, because it's an important part of this city, I think, so that's, yeah.
And it is so much less expensive if they're done on a rotating basis than when they go too long and it starts chipping and getting in bad condition. So it would be more efficient and to do them and get them on a regular schedule.
And that was discussed, I believe, at the council
Mhm.
meeting, that Becky and Pamela attended, sort of once we get things up to snuff, then implementing some sort of rotation cycle so that we can maintain better than what we've
Planning
done in the
planning
past.
forward instead of emergency work.
And documenting all this so we can
Yeah.
roll it
Mhm.
out.
Do we want to touch on the mural on this building?
Well, let's vote on going forward with, I move that we provide a budget of $1,000 toward restoration of Roger Cooke's Peaceful Vistas.
And I second that.
All in favor?
Is that unanimous?
Everybody.
Thank you.
Jeez. All right. I do have a question for you, sir. So at what point can you apply the protective sealant in all weather? Or does it need to be summertime when you do something like that, or?
Well, yeah, well, if you're not careful, it's gonna backfire on you, so. But right now, overcast day, perfect. I've got one down in Gresham that, every time I had a hot day, I go home. Right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's what will happen here. If you're up here and it's 80 degrees or whatever, you will stop because
Mhm.
the paint can't dry fast enough and those kinds of things. So the sealant, will want to bubble up if it's really, really hot. So, yeah, that's a good question. And so when we get to working on this thing, you'll probably see some days we're not there. That's because probably weather, more than anything.
What about, say, our sort of soggy seasons? Would you?
The rain season?
Yeah.
We sit here and cry.
Yeah. Okay. So
We-
you just don't. You're not able to seal anything in
We
the.
don't do it in winter time. We
Okay.
don't do it when it's wet, and especially with even paint, you get some high quality paint. If the wall's wet, you got a problem. I
Okay.
mean, it's just that simple. That's why on the panels, we're gonna get those panels closed so there's no water and seepage going between the panels, and so it doesn't get behind anything. And so we have some really powerful caulking that goes in there that will last for quite a while.
Okay.
That is a good question, and I think also it's just a matter of temperature and dryness.
Okay. Yeah, I was
So-
kind of looking for a time frame when we finally kind of get those
Yeah.
projects complete. Of if we were going to seal them all at one time, what
Yeah.
time of year
You-
would be
you
the
know,
best to do that?
October on a nice, 65-degree day,
Okay.
sure, no problem, but as soon as it gets, wet or under 50 degrees or
Gotcha.
so.
The
you're looking
humidity
at
makes a big
having
difference.
troubles, yeah.
When we did the Centennial mural, we rented space and then did all the panels in that space. And it was
Indoors.
indoors,
Oh,
green
okay.
light, we could control the temperature and humidity or whatever we wanted to do. And I think that lends to some of the really good stuff we have up here on the Centennial mural in terms of clearness and stuff. And so when we got it all done, packed up the panels, went over, put them on the wall, and I think, you got a lot of people did. What was a thing that came out really, it was really important, it turned out more important than I thought it might be. As you all know, this is a pioneer town, okay? And we had a lot of people in association with your museum down over here, but we had a lot of people come in, and we told them you could come in and watch us paint, and so the people took us up on that. They came in, they'll watch us paint, and they go, oh man, that's my great grandmother. Or that's, and all of a sudden the connection between the mural and the people who were some of the pioneers, I mean, and their families, so that was an extra bonus in terms of us, and because we got a lot of information from people about grandma, about grandpa, and all those kinds of things, and so I've had other murals at other places, especially the one in Gresham, same thing. It was made for the city of Gresham and you know, and how it was all one city put together. I don't know how many times people come up and said, thank you, because that's my uncle, or that's my grandfather, or those kinds of things. So that's, in my mind, and I think in Briggs too, that's a special, it's a bonus. And people get a connection to that mural. And I even had a handicapped lady who wrote a poem which would bring tears to your eyes. That right now, it's in a place about this big in Gresham. It's inserted in the mural. And it will always be there as long as the earthquake and the mural falls down or something. And I still get comments over the phone from people, just that, you know, the poem that's in there is just gratis, you know, because it connects them right to the community. I mean, so that's, I'll get off my stool here, but there's lots of benefits to this
A
stuff.
lot of value the murals bring to the community.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the questions.
You're welcome.
And like you say, you got some ideas and stuff, I mean, be afraid to give me a call and we'll see if there's something, we can work something out, or tell you what you can or can't do. Those kinds of things.
Excellent.
He's definitely the guy to ask.
Okay.
Becky, did you have something to add? It seemed like you were kind of chomping at the bit before you lost your.
I'm
train
listening
of
to the
thought
music.
there. Okay, you're just rocking.
I'm rocking out.
Cool. I can handle that. Excellent. Thank you so much. Community Center Mural Restoration.
Can we get the photos up of the before and after?
They look really good. I saw them in the email.
Okay.
They look really good.
So the community center, they call it the senior center or community center, and I had sent out before and after pictures before it was cleaned. And then the after picture was not only cleaned, but it was wet. If you put a sealer on the existing mural, you will get the color and that look. That's just doing nothing but this clear coat on that mural. All three murals that we're discussing were all done circa mid-90s, 93 to 95. They say in a lot of the literature, excuse me, that I'd have a drink of water, but you know, we didn't get provided water. So that the average life of a mural is something like 20 to 30 years. Well, I think that if it's properly maintained, that its life is actually better than that, especially with the paint that is available today. So when you see the mural, I did a lot of research and just the community members who remember when it was done, and talked to some of the people who were in the old photographs of when it was dedicated and that kind of thing. And they said, oh, it's always been very dull in color. Well, yes, it could be muted colors, but I guarantee that if it's been in that building and apparently not sealed or improved, that the original colors have faded to a large degree. I believe that the faces and people in there were done as memories, and that the artist intentionally have them to be more ghostly and subtle. But the children in the front, with the balloons, those I believe would have been more vivid, as well as certain blocks of color. You'll see blocks of blue, kind of a pinky fleshy tone, some brown colors. I think originally some of those bigger blocks of color would have been a little more intense. So The question I'm wondering is, do we want to contemplate touching up some of those blocks of color and leaving the faces the way they are, as the artist did them, but bring a little of the color that was in the original mural back? So basically the same paint, just bringing the color back up a little bit.
I don't think the children would have been more brightly colored because they're surrounding them are brightly colored
No, I don't mean
balloons.
just the balloons. That's the
The
only.
balloons.
Yeah, the balloons
Uh-huh.
maybe, or,
You
so,
know, it looks quite lovely muted as it is, and we don't really know what it was.
we don't. And the only thing I could find on the artist was an obituary that I don't think could be him. I think it had to have been his father because of the age he was when this was dedicated. But I have not been able to locate him to get any better pictures.
I think if we bring up some of those blocks of color, it's going to make the faces look even more
more
faded,
pale?
'cause it'd be too much of a contrast.
I just asked this because I really don't know, but was it just not standard practice 25, 30 years ago to seal murals? It was just not what was the standard in the industry, or does anyone really know?
Oh, what is that MSA varnish? The MSA varnish was something I think they may have used. I know they varnished work,
Okay.
but it's the quality of the varnish. Over time, they've improved the formulas a lot. And there is sign on Roger Cooke's mural that it has had a clear coat on it at one time, but it's really in rough condition, what's left of it. And the mural on the front of the building here had a sealer applied to it, and I believe both of those were done probably around 2011, probably just before Lee did his mural. And so you can see where it was applied previously with a roller because you can see the bubbles in it. And it was done, Rogers was done better than the one on this building. So the opinion would be to, if we leave it the way it is, we can at least get that clear coat, which brings the color out and I think makes it look so much better, and will preserve the paint that's there.
Was this something that you were considering doing soon, or were you wanting to do a bunch of them in one swoop, like you mentioned earlier? So I think if we're just gonna buy the materials, it might be better to just do it all at once.
Well, because of the hazmat shipping on some of these materials, you're looking at half as much as the gallon of the cost is enormous. So to me, you would get a better price on the material itself by ordering enough to do, say, the Peaceful Vistas and this one, which could conceivably, if we have funding, be done this end of this summer and early fall.
Did you perchance calculate that into the budget for the restoration of the Roger Cooke mural by chance?
I didn't, because when I presented it to Dave Snyder originally, I put that that it needed 2 to 3 clear coats of clear coat sprayed on, preferably, because putting it on with a roller as the other was done is not even enough. There is another way of putting it on with a paint pad, which could be done better than a roller, but spraying the clear coat on would be a more sure way. I don't know, were you planning to spray or paint pad?
Yeah, Becky, I mean, you guys are touching on a lot of different things, and I would say in the last 20, 30 years, the products they've used for murals have gotten so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, as muralists, we love it. I mean, because the colors are bright, you know, and they tend to stay that way. And it seals, sometimes so-called seals at night, but sometimes it doesn't, but that's, anyway. So today's way, what you're working with today is quite different than you were working with even 20 years ago. And the sealant is great, but what's really good is we have paint now, of all things, you wouldn't think so, but of all things, I use now on a lot of my murals. I won't be using on this one because it's already there, but exterior house paint.
100% acrylic and with a lifetime warranty. And I always say, whose lifetime are they talking about?
That's exactly, you know, that's what I use. And then of course the colors, and we have also a lot of tubes of color. Liquitex makes some wonderful stuff, by the way. And it can be out in the rain and stuff for quite a while, okay?
Yes,
But you put the two sealants over it. You normally seal it, you put the second one on, and the second one really knocks down any graffiti that's gonna come on there. Because graffiti, I've seen graffiti be a death of a mural. I mean, 'cause it's
Lee, how do you apply your sealer?
Hmm?
How do you apply your sealer? Do you spray it, or what do you do?
Brush it on.
brush.
We brush it on.
Okay,
I don't
so,
spray it on.
yeah, so brushing is better than a roller, but if,
A roller's about the worst thing you can use.
yeah.
That's for rolling the wall over here.
Yeah, so if we do them a little later, either at the end of this, see, when we get our good paint on that mural, Roger's mural, it's really good. And it could go a little bit longer, so we could get the material and have a spray job done on both of them and do it more cost effectively. And it will also give us time to do a little fundraising. So, so I just think it's something that we need to do, but I would love to see the community buy-in on some of these projects that we have going. And so when we get down to new business, the art project underway banner, I hope we'll address some of that. There's nothing I don't think we need to do any voting or acting on this because we still have another meeting or two before the end of the year, and we can see what we can whip up as far as community support. And Brittany Allen is willing to write a nice thing in the Post about that too.
Let's move on to the City Hall mural restoration.
I put a proposal into David Snyder that it is in the seal coat that was put on it is in such rough condition, and the substrate is starting to rot on it, that we get it off of the wall for the winter and put some elbow grease into it and restore it inside the building at the community campus. And he's in agreement with doing that. So as soon as tourist season is over, before it gets wet again, we will, the city will take it down and get it into storage so we can work on it.
Okay.
Splendid.
And I believe that one's being covered by urban renewal funds.
Correct.
And I believe that this one is going to be covered by urban renewal funds. So we just really need to raise the money for that's what David said anyway. This, yeah.
Please do.
One of the things that we talked about when Becky and I and Jordan, that whole group talked about how to deal with paying for the Roger Cooke mural, the idea that Cooke's mural is stuck to the wall of a private building prevents us from using urban renewal dollars, and so consequences are we got to scramble to find out where to put those dollars at. Two things. One is that to make that more in terms of a city-owned mural is to make it under a maintenance agreement that is agreed by the building owner, that the city will maintain it. And I understand there's some legal terminology about owning the mural, being able to refurbish it and those kind of things. And with that kind of an agreement on that sort of mural that's stuck to the wall itself rather than on a board of some kind, that gives us the authority to go ahead and use more easily found dollars like the urban renewal dollars, which is really a fairly easy product to use. The scrambling around and grabbing your budget from the art commission is a little more sensitive, maybe limited dollars and all that sort of thing. So I'd recommend that the commission would come together and kind of figure out a way to, first off, figure out a way to bring some of these murals, this particular one in any way, in a way that we own it, we have a little more authority over controlling it, and that would give us the funding thing. Secondly, as a recommendation, I'd say we're going to do more murals in the future, probably.
That is what I'm hoping that.
Probably.
this
Yeah, I would really
gonna
love to see
bring.
more of them show up. Going to be more issues come out down the road we don't even know about. I suspect that it would be really important in the next few years. I'd love to see you put on your agenda, come up with a strategy about if we do a mural, this is how we're going to do it. We want certain kind of backing, we want certain kind of ownership, we want certain kind of tracking, we want people to control the mural, be able to maintain it, all that sort of thing. And I'm sure there's a long list of things I'm not even aware of, but I think it'd be real good for us as you as a commission to be able to come up with a strategy, a written policy that says, here's what we're going to do. If we put a mural on the wall, we want to be able to do all these things so that we can keep it fresh, keep it well known. How do you document? What do you do with recognizing the artist? All that sort of stuff probably would be an important thing to do. So I'd recommend something like that would be put on your agenda sometime.
Agreed.
If you don't mind, I'd like to chime in because I like your thoughts on it. Every time I've done a mural, inside, outside, you know, in another state or whatever it is, when I finish those murals, I give them a maintenance plan. And that plan has whole, you know, and of course, there's some of the murals that are indoor and there's no big problems and anything else, but some outdoor stuff is where you got all the issues. It would, to me, it would be a big help over time to have a person, and it doesn't have to be a person like me or anything else, but a person who could look for the problems. If a mural's gonna start having problems, and be able to look at that thing and identify those, and then you can have an artist or a muralist to come back and fix it, you know, and fix it easy, as opposed to fixing something that's gonna be, cost a lot of money and a lot of action. I know I'm talking maybe about people, and I'm sure that's hard to do, but I've seen some good successes where there was some things that, you know, were starting to show up. You know, something I did like 15, 20 years ago, I did a phone call and I said, hey, we got a problem, what do we do? And I said, I'll be out there and we'll take a look. And we'll make sure that you don't have a long-term now problem. You know, so that's my preaching for the day, but I mean, that's, you know, because I just love murals and, you know, and art, so. And by the way, the sealant I have, you know, the two sealants, okay, and I used the one of them on fine art. So I'm teaching someone then to do a painting, they do a painting, and that's what we covered over with. And it takes, and that way they can put up with, no worry about UVs and all this kind of stuff, and they framed it up and away they go. It's really, today's stuff is powerful.
So you use that and then you use the graffiti coat on it.
Exactly, right. You got the two, yeah. And it's, that's just products that are just wonderful. So I'm sure all the muralists would say the same thing. Boy, all this paint we got today is so much better than we had 20 years ago.
Sure. I like to refer to graffiti as urban calligraphy, but that's another. Did you have something to add, please?
Well, Becky had, and it's in your email, Becky had posted this thing about Vera statute. That was really surprising information. And I think if we're gonna talk about doing murals, it's
I
in
didn't
the
send
email.
it to everybody, I sent it to the people in the meeting, but I will
Oh,
share
okay.
it, I'll
Probably
share
should
it
send
with
it to everyone,
everyone.
because I think murals are gonna come up again. I think most of us wanna see more murals in this town.
I'd like to see more.
This is
sculpture
really
as well.
shocking information about legalities of doing murals on
Oh.
buildings. And it's certainly something we would wanna know upfront, because we would wanna write any contracts very carefully.
Well, for one, I have done murals indoors, but I know nothing about protecting murals outdoors. So this is all like groundwork for me and fundamental stuff that I think that's really going to help what we do from this point on. So thank you again so much for
If you want me
adding.
to take a look at what you got, and so forth, let me know, and I'll be glad to look at it and maybe give you some advice on where to go from there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee.
If there's nothing much more to be said about the City Hall mural restoration, it sounds like we might be getting a little crunched on time. If no one has any objections, could we go ahead and move to the art project underway banner, please?
I sent a prototype banner around to everybody so that you'd be familiar with the concept. And it's an 8-foot banner that would go up anytime we are working on an art project. And this says art project underway, so it'll go up on the ACE mural and people will know that we're doing something about it. It'll call attention to it, and it has a thing in green. You can help, and then it has our phone number, city phone number, and we now have a cityart@cityofsandy.com email. So when someone is interested in how they can help, whether it's physically help with art projects or suggestions or money, that they have someone they can talk to and some way of getting involved. And so I was hoping that we might get the public involved to raise the funds for the sealant on Roger Cooke's mural, because I think a lot of people in the community would be willing to help participate in that. So by getting donated funds and also volunteers, like Lori volunteered to help us with the chalk art. She found out about that through Sandra at the museum. The more people who can get involved in the public art, I think the better.
Yes.
And I'm done with that subject.
Okay.
Who's on the other end of the phone number?
It's the main line of City Hall, so it would just get transferred to myself, most likely.
Okay, I just wondered if it was somebody who had even a clue what was going on.
I asked for the chalk art to be sent to Tyler and to me, and then I hope that we will get a volunteer who will field those calls. But we needed to get because the banner's going up in a few days, we needed to get somebody on there, but we will get a volunteer to do that.
So if there's a commissioner that, would like to take those calls, we would just give out your phone
All the
number or
millions of
contact
calls that are
info.
gonna come in. from people that donate.
But we didn't want to put a generic or a non-generic number in the event that someone isn't a commissioner later, or a staff member leaves, or duties change. So the main line of City Hall seemed to be the most prudent approach, and then we'll just filter as needed.
Mhm. So,
If they're calling just to want to donate their time, or, because if it just says you can help, people might come out with their magic markers and.
yeah, we don't really want them to actually bring the paint.
You might want to word it differently.
Anyway, well, they should call the number and find out
Yeah,
if they've
right.
got the right paintbrush or whatever. So that's really, I just wanted to let you know that that is something that I think will help call attention to the Sandy Arts Commission and to its projects. And I think it's important that the community gets involved.
Do we need to vote on funding that banner?
Nope, it's in the budget.
Okay, moving on. To the Missoula Theater Camp collaboration. I'm familiar with the title, but I really don't know much about it.
Okay, Call on me, call on me, call on me.
Let's see,
That's
Becky.
Okay.
I never heard of it.
So the,
I just
Tanya Richardson that was here before referenced the other Richardson, which is Sarah Richardson. Sarah and Carol Cohen got a hold of me for two reasons. For one thing, Sandy Arts Commissioner, and the other reason is that I volunteer with the Sandy Actors Theater. They wanted to find a funding source for this Missoula theater camp because they really wanted to have the camp, and they didn't have enough kids signed up, and they needed a certain number. Well, I happen to know Sandy Actors Theater puts on a camp at the same time, and they would be in direct competition with each other, which would mess both programs up. So I put them in contact with each other to see what would work out for both groups. And so even though we are not participating in the way of funding, we were able to facilitate a collaboration and a partnership between them so that hopefully they will have a better theater camp. Missoula is an excellent theater camp, and that's recognized by the Sandy Actors Theater, and they said, well, let's go ahead and do that, and we'll support you as we can. And they have 33 kids signed up at this point, and so everything is a go. They have, I think, enough kids to do it, and it should turn out pretty well. But I'm just wanted to bring that up because we were contacted as an arts commission. So somebody knows that we exist.
How long is this? Is it like a week camp or
I think it's 5 days.
5 days?
And they, at the end, they put on two performances. Also, I will say that you may be getting an email from Sarah Richardson offering you tickets to the performances. And
Do you know kids can still sign up? Do you know that much?
yes, they're still signing up kids, and it's really great for, I'd say, the under 14 to 15, somewhere, along in there. At some point, when you get to be too old a teen, it's like a little beneath, but it's great for kids.
Those of us that don't know, myself included, who is the Missoula Theater and where do they operate and so on and so forth?
I don't know that much about. I just assumed they came originally out of Missoula, Montana, or someplace, because I don't know.
Anyway.
However, I did see their, had friends that had children in Astoria go through the program, and they bring all their props, and they put on the same play each place they go.
Okay.
So they bring all the props, and then the kids are help be the directors and the stage managers and all that, as well as the actors. It's a very good
They
camp
travel
for
around.
kids. They travel.
They
So
travel around
you could find it just by
year-round.
Googling Missoula Theater Camp?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
They have a very large
kidding.
Yeah.
About Me section on
No, you
their
don't.
website, so there's lots of good information on there if you want to.
Yeah, it's a good program, but it's not an inexpensive program, so it really took a financial commitment, and they wanted enough kids to sign up before they had to sign the contract.
Oh, excellent.
Okay.
Good work mediating that and putting more artists together in this town, in our fine town.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else besides approving the minutes that we need to go over today?
The only thing I would add is, at the next meeting, I'll have a budget report for you guys.
Thank you.
There's only been about $7 in expenses this fiscal year, and that was in petty cash, but we just cut checks today for some of the chalk art contest supplies and awards and that sort of thing, so I didn't have a chance to pull that together before the meeting. But at the next meeting, we'll get an update to you and keep you informed on that.
I've got mine.
I did read the minutes from the last meeting. I was unavailable, I had to work, but I have no changes to that. Does anyone else have any changes that they saw?
No, I read it. It looked fine.
Excellent.
A motion to approve and then a vote.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from June.
You have to abstain since you weren't
I
here.
weren't
have to
here.
abstain since I wasn't here.
So do I.
I move that we approve the minutes from June 4th as written.
I second that.
All in favor? Do I abstain? I don't
Mhm.
even know.
I don't know.
I still thought they were great. They looked great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well written.
Your typing is, your typemanship is amazing. It's exquisite. Otherwise, I think since I did not abstain this meeting, I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting, if I may be so bold.
I'll second that.
Okay. All agree?
All in favor? Run for
Yes.
your lives.
Aye.
Yes. Well, thank you all for joining us for another
you.
fine episode of